a burn-up. Drivers out of control in police camera action. Those drivers, like so many motorists, only realise their driving's out of control too late. And one reason? Well, they're just too busy doing something else. Like shaving, using their car as a bathroom on wheels, or eating in their dining room on wheels, or putting on their makeup in their mobile beauty salon. The trouble is that with their brains and their hands on other things, drivers like that are on the road to disaster.
This Volvo driver's busy reading a map, unaware that the lights ahead are turning red.
He's going, he's going. We've got that on tape. Did he hit him? I don't think so.
After that, he's even got the cheek to ask if he's heading in the right direction.
Certainly not driving like that.
Here's another driver whose mind is elsewhere. And watch the white car heading in from the bottom of the screen.
Telephone up to his right ear with his right hand, steering with his left hand.
Tragically, this is far too common. A driver on a mobile phone putting other road users' lives on the line. This driver is also exceeding the 30-mile-an-hour limit while the road is wet. Actions that could amount to dangerous driving, a serious offence with a maximum penalty of £5,000, disqualification, or even a prison sentence. Here's a driver who thinks nothing of swapping his phone from one hand to the other. But a recent spate of fatal collisions involving drivers talking on the phone has made it crystal clear that it's a stupid and unacceptable thing to do. You might hardly believe what this driver does next, taking both hands off the wheel, totally unaware that every rub is being recorded. This Bentley's been spotted on the M1. As you can see from the bottom right of the screen, it's way over the 70-mile-an-hour speed limit and weaving from lane to lane. A case of a high-class car with a low-class driver. Perhaps the driver's been drinking. When they pulled him over, the telltale aerial at his ear indicates that he's on the phone. And perhaps he had been drinking. Not alcohol, but a takeaway soft drink. Now, you might expect a high standard from a driving instructor's car, but not this one. Watch the driver as she takes a long swig from a drinks can. The erratic behaviour of the woman at the wheel of this red Golf has caught the attention of the Dutch traffic police. But what is she up to? As she heads onto the slip road toward a busy motorway, they realise she can't see what's happening behind her as she's adjusted her rear view mirror so that she can look at herself.
Ja, dat is iets opstaan.
Wat ging u daarover doen?
Ja, mij wel, ja.
Ja, ga je dichterop rijden? Ja, niet zo. Ja, eyeliner. Ja.
At almost 60 miles an hour and creeping perilously close to the van in front, this woman is doing her makeup.
Kijk dan, 2 handen in het huis. Zie je het? Dat is weer hetzelfde als toen.
This driver seems more concerned with her own appearance than with the very ugly appearance of her driving. When the police pulled her over, no amount of makeup can disguise her embarrassment. She claimed that as a businesswoman who does a lot of driving, what she was doing wasn't dangerous. The police didn't agree. This car's been pulled over by a Mississippi Highway Patrol officer, suspicious of why the woman driving has been weaving dangerously across the road.
How you doing? Okay, I need to see your driver's license. Yeah. Okay, man, the reason I stopped you, I noticed a while ago when I was behind you before you made that turn, first turn off there to the right, you swerved over and across that center line. You had anything to drink tonight, had you?
Like what?
Oh, any kind of alcoholic beverage.
Man, I don't even drink, much less had an alcoholic beverage. I might have been reading some notes or something. As far as drinking, I don't drink.
Good policy, man. Appreciate your cooperation. Men need to pay more attention there and not be reading while you're going down the road. Okay? Be careful.
It's doubtful drivers in Britain would be let off so lightly. When the police in the UK see this kind of thing, they're much more likely to throw the book.
That's brilliant, Ace. Should we put him over and have a chat with him and show him this?
As these drivers discovered, this kind of behaviour is a clear case of driving without due care and attention, carrying a maximum fine of £2,500 and up to 9 penalty points.
What's the biggest decision you'll ever take? Choosing a career? Where to live? Whether to get married? Or whether to overtake? Because a decision to overtake by a driver in a hurry can lead to disaster. Every year, 20,000 accidents begin when somebody decides to risk it and overtake.
It's risky manoeuvres like these that help make rural roads the scene of more road deaths than any other type of road. Such impatience just isn't worth it. Being stuck behind a milk float may be frustrating, but the double white lines are there for a very good reason. The road markings on the right are there to help people wishing to turn right, not for this selfish driver to use as a personal overtaking lane. Sooner or later, such irresponsible behaviour close to junctions is bound to end in trouble, as it did in this example from Cumbria Police. And here's a truly disastrous piece of overtaking from the United States, this time by a speeding car thief. Incredible as it may seem, the young criminal at the wheel was thrown free and survived. But in the United States, where it seems virtually anyone can own a gun, the police take no chances.
Please, please, please! Go on, Bears, get me an ambulance out here, code 3.
Thankfully, the need for police here in the United Kingdom to carry weapons like that is the exception rather than the rule. But when officers do need to be armed, it's only after very careful selection and weeks of intensive training.
All attempts to peacefully arrest the person, to resolve it, have been tried and failed.
Here in West Wales, for example, Dyfed-Powys Police are pioneering a new video training system that gives officers experience of armed incidents, but in complete safety. Now, everything that happens here is relayed via video to the training area downstairs, the pictures being projected up onto giant paper screens.
No harm will come to you if you do as you're told. Put the gun down, David.
This exercise involves an armed car thief. Officers must first attempt to persuade him to give up his gun.
There are armed police officers around you.
The use of their own weapons is strictly a last resort.
The next one's for you, copper!
Put it down, David!
The officer's accuracy and split-second decision to fire are both examined.
We're justified in using that ultimate force against him.
Lancashire police are confident that the driver of this stolen white Astra isn't armed. But what the police don't realise is that he is carrying something else on board which requires extremely careful handling. a tiny baby.
Oscar November 2 on the vehicles in the 4th lane, still high speed now, M6 south.
Just as with the police use of firearms, during a high-speed pursuit, control is the key to a safe and successful outcome. And today, a baby's life is going to depend on them following the procedures they've been precisely trained in.
And it's reckless driving, using the 4 lanes, overtaking on the hard shoulder and all lanes.
So while the police helicopter monitors the car's movements discreetly overhead, an unmarked police car maintains visual contact on the ground. Slowed up by heavy traffic on the M6, the white car suddenly makes a break for the exit.
BD, the vehicle 61 towards Manchester.
Roger, in several patrols, the vehicle is now being committed M61 southbound, Roger. As the vehicle now committed M61 southbound and Manchester have been informed.
Faced by a wall of slow-moving cars, the driver decides to try to weave through them, putting the baby in yet greater danger.
Tango X-ray 99 and 66 to remain with the Astra. Any other patrol who's in the pursuit is now to back off. That's Tango X-ray 99 and 66 only to remain with the pursuit.
But this driver has an even more frightening manoeuvre up his sleeve.
Tango X-ray 66 reporting the vehicles to 110 miles an hour and overtaken on the hard shoulder, Roger. Oscar November 2-1, if you can just continue with the commentary at this stage.
Yeah, Roger, Oscar November 2-1 received that. We're just approaching the next junction, still M61, and the vehicle's on the hard shoulder now, overtaking on the hard shoulder.
At times, the speed reaches 120 miles an hour.
Just approaching junction 6, 61, still towards Manchester.
Oscar November 2-1, reporting the Astra now approaching junction 6, M61, southbound, still towards Manchester, Roger. It's approaching junction 6 at Horwich.
And Oscar November 2-1, the vehicle's off at junction 6, off the motorway 6.
Oscar November 2-1. Oscar November 2-1, reporting the vehicle off at junction 6. That's the vehicle off.
And it's a left. Yeah, 2-1, the vehicle's gone left at the motorway island, now on the dual carriageway. Stand by for the road name.
Oscar November 2-1, reporting the vehicle left the motorway island.
So, off the motorway, and with the car thief even prepared to speed through red lights, the baby appears to be in still greater danger.
The beehive at Bolton. Tango X-ray 99, reporting the vehicle right into an industrial estate prior to the beehive, Roger. Unreadable, try again.
They're now on a winding country road, but still maintaining motorway speeds.
Tango X-ray 99.
BD, the vehicle's crashed, just stand by.
Oscar November 2-1, reporting the vehicle crashed. Reporting the vehicle crashed.
For your information, it would appear that there's a baby, tiny baby, possibly 6 months old, that's been removed from the vehicle and appears uninjured.
Roger, we've just viewed that.
The driver of the stolen vehicle turned out to be just 14 years old. He was also the father of the baby. He was later put under a supervision order for 18 months for driving that put both the baby's life and the lives of other road users in danger. He was given a further 18 months for the aggravated theft of the vehicle. When he does eventually become eligible to drive, he'll have to sit an extended test to check he's learned a safer attitude on the road. The baby was uninjured.
After the break, drivers who find that the going gets a little too tough.
Why is it you keep your mortgage?
Hopefully, no motorist would ever come across conditions like these on a regular road. But on this special training track, the idea is to teach ordinary motorists how to deal with the most extreme terrain. The theory is that if you can learn to control your vehicle in conditions like these, you'll be able to deal with pretty well anything that you come across on an ordinary road. And as you'll see, even on the public roads, conditions can get pretty perilous.
This driver was pulled over by the police in Norway on suspicion of being drunk. He was, and so drunk that he didn't notice the ditch. a very deep ditch. These drivers seem oblivious to the conditions on the wet road. Not only are both driving at speeds approaching 100 miles an hour, but the Porsche is driving insanely close to the car in front. A gap of at least 2 seconds is the minimum in good weather, but when it's wet, it should be at least double that. In freezing weather, even more care is required. Of course, in any weather, it's an offence to drive without good all-round visibility, but this is madness. For evidence of just how mad, these RUC officers have detached their in-car camera to take it inside the offender's car.
There can't be many things more frightening than being caught in a car that's on fire. In the UK alone, there are 60,000 car fires a year. Now, trying to tackle a blaze like this on your own can prove fatal. Kerry here is a well-protected professional Hampshire firefighter. Now, just look at that. Lifting the bonnet just gives the fire the air it needs. Should this happen to you, there are very simple rules to follow. Find somewhere safe to stop. Switch the engine off. Get everyone out of the car and stand well clear. Then call on the professionals to sort it out.
Not a good example of a safe place to stop, the middle of a roundabout, but at least this driver did get himself out of the way before attracting the attentions of the motorway police. Despite what you see in the movies, it's rare for a burning vehicle to explode, but, as in this case, the flames can take hold within minutes. Attempts to fight the fire, even with a full-sized fire extinguisher, appear to have little effect. But this police officer's about to get some help from an unexpected quarter. A passing salesman from a fire extinguisher manufacturer. And he knows precisely how to get to the seat of the fire without opening the bonnet, by aiming the extinguisher through the car's radiator grille. By the time the fire brigade arrive, the worst of the fire is out. This 2CV is burning in an underground section of the M25. The driver's gone to the emergency phone to call for help. On the way back, she discovers the tunnel's emergency fire hose, and from the relative safety of the walkway, is attempting to rescue her beloved motorcar from the flames. A passing Good Samaritan pulls over and rushes to help. But in this story, there are two Good Samaritans. The second, the driver of a motorway gully cleansing truck, is just pulling up. As part of his gully cleansing kit, he just happens to have a high-pressure water hose. Between them, they soon have the fire under control.
There's an emergency. The police need to get there urgently, but there's a problem. Other road users. They hear the siren, but they get confused. They don't know where it's coming from, and they fail to get out of the way.
These are all examples of real incidents where the police were held up on their way to emergencies.
Thank you.
This guy, I've no idea at all. Idea.
By the time some drivers work out where the siren's coming from, it's too late. The police car is already on their tail. If they panic, it only makes matters worse. But a new theory is that it's not all the fault of the drivers. Research suggests that the sound of the siren may be partly to blame.
Well, here in Leeds, a revolutionary solution to the problem is being road tested by West Yorkshire Police. It's a new-sounding siren.
The inventor says that by inserting the whooshing of white noise between the blasts of the regular siren, other road users find it easier to work out the direction from which it's coming.
That gives them more time to check it's safe, indicate and move out of the way, thus providing the emergency services with vital extra seconds.
And keeping out of the way is about to become a matter of life and death for road users caught up in this next incident. The white BMW convertible, just turning into the garage, has been stolen. When the driver realizes that the Metropolitan Police are closing in to arrest him, he makes a desperate but futile attempt to escape, first reversing fast onto a busy dual carriageway, then driving up the pavement, risking the lives of pedestrians and two mischievous boys on bikes. Ahead, the pavement's too narrow for the car to get through. So he takes to the road, hurtling towards oncoming traffic. For half a mile, the car charges the wrong way up the road. Ahead, a patrol car attempts to head him off, without success. Now, on the correct side of the road, the driver may think that he's getting away, but not for long. Ahead, the dual carriageway is blocked by heavy traffic, so the driver takes to the slip road. But police on the ground, coordinated from the helicopter, are sealing off the junction ahead. As the stolen car gets snarled up in traffic, they move in. He was arrested, locked up for a year, and disqualified from driving for 2 years. Finally, there can be no worse case of a driver out of control than a drunk driver. As he drives up onto the curb, Swedish police realize this driver is very, very drunk. So drunk, in fact, that they're unable even to get his attention. He's ignored their hooting, their flashing lights, even the blast of their siren. Only a collision with a road sign brings him partly to his senses. The driver was given a jail sentence, banned from driving for 3 years, and made to pay for the broken road sign. But to end with, a romantic drive that went too far. The driver was fined £100 for not being in proper control, and his girlfriend £40 for not wearing a seatbelt.
Crazy for thinking that my love could hold you. I'm crazy for trying and crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for loving you.
Next on Anglia, explosive undercover developments. The conclusion of our two-part story, Linda LaPlante's Supply and Demand, in a moment.